In this lesson, we'll be creating a linear array. What we're going to be doing is adding a few windows to our model. Then we'll create a linear or straight-lined array. We'll then mirror those windows to create a symmetrical west side of our building. Open the file you've been working on, or open the file called Chapter 5 and follow along. In the project browser, under Floor Plans, make sure you're in Level 1. Let's zoom in on the west side of the building. The first thing we're going to do is, of course, establish some reference planes. Go ahead and click on the Ref Plane button. On the Draw panel, go ahead and click on the Pick Lines button. For an offset, let's give it 2 feet. Hover over the outside face of the brick and offset that down. Remember, not this line, but this line. We have a reference plane here. Now what we want to do, with 2 feet still in the offset, click your Line button. With your Line button pressed, come down to this weird little corner here and pick this right here. Let's go in this direction, make sure you're straight, and pick another spot off in the distance. Hit Escape a couple times. By doing this, this allows us to space the windows out properly. What we want to do next is add a window. So click on the Window button on the Architecture tab. Let's change it to fixed 24-inch by 72 inches. Let's just place it right here. We don't have to be exact just yet. I'm going to show you. We'll move it in a minute. Hit Escape a couple times. Go ahead and select your window. Click the Move button. Let's move it down to the reference plane. I'm going to pick this point here. I'm going to pick this point here. And now it's moved down. Zoom out a little bit. Now the next step is to array it. Go ahead and select the window itself. On the Modify panel, we see we have an Array button. Pick it. This time I want to go with a linear array. We want to group and associate it. And for the number, I want 4. We want to move it to last, and we'll keep the constraint turned on. What I'd like to do is zoom in close, and this corner right here is going to be our first point. Go ahead and pick this point. Let's move it up the wall, and let's pick this point. If we zoom out, we'll see we have an even space of windows arrayed. Click off of it, and hit Escape a couple times. Notice that only one of the items got tagged because we didn't array these. Now if I hover over this, this is grouped. Sometimes we want that behavior, sometimes we don't. What we want to do is actually ungroup it. So hover over this window and hit the Control key and select it. Select this window, select this window, select this window, holding the Control key down the entire time. Click the Ungroup button. Now these are free to do whatever we want with. One thing we want to do is we want to tag everything. So let's go ahead and right-click on this number 7 tag and create Similar. Pick this window, pick that window, pick that window. They're all tagged. Hit Escape a couple times. The next task is to mirror these down to the other side of this reference plane. What we're going to do is we're going to pick a window around everything. Remember, if you pick a window from this side, only the items completely within it are going to be selected. Go ahead and pick a window starting from the upper left-hand side and resolving down on the lower right-hand side. You can tell when the items are selected because they highlight. Once you have these 4 windows and the 4 tags highlighted, you can actually look down here and see a little filter button. It tells you that you have 8 items selected. Pick on the Mirror Axis Draw line. And what I want to do is come in here and pick this midpoint. Once I pick that midpoint, I'm going to move my cursor over in this direction, and the windows are going to be mirrored. Go to a 3D view and check it out. Remember, hold down the Shift key and the wheel button and spin around to the back of the model. I still think these are a little bit low, so let's right-click on one of the windows, select All Instances, an entire project. What I'd like to do when I do this is I generally will scroll out and just look at the other windows. They're windows, but they're a different type of window, so they don't get selected. Let's zoom back to these windows. Let's give it a sill height of 3'6". Hit apply, and it moves our windows up. That's an incredibly useful command. Knowing how to work with groups is especially helpful. Remember, when you erase something, you always have the ability to go back and rearray it or renumber it, but sometimes groups can be very prohibitive in terms of modifying items like we just did.